And welcome back to Rob Schmitt Tonight. With the left in full control of Washington, D.C. and making a real mess out of pretty much everything that they touch, many Americans are turning to their state governors, specifically Republican governors. Less than a year out from the midterm elections, a new poll showing that Republican governors are winning higher approval from voters than their Democrat counterparts. It's good news. The poll from the Morning Consult found that of the 16 most popular governors in the United States, can you believe 14 of them are Republicans? That's amazing. And GOP governors leading Democrat-leaning states, so Republicans running blue states, are earning especially high approval ratings, and that is very important. In fact, 4 Republicans in states that were won by Biden in 2020 top this list. The most popular is Republican Phil Scott, the state of Vermont. Probably somebody you've never thought about or heard about, but he's the most popular. It's amazing. From Newsweek, voters in these states give their Republican governors such high approval ratings because they view them as a handbrake on their liberal state legislatures. It's a great quote. You need some common sense, and that's what they're bringing to these crazy blue states. And just last week, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem was ranked the best governor in the United States by the American Legislative Exchange Council as her state experiences the strongest economy in the country, one of only 2 states to be in a stronger economic position than they were before the pandemic. And that's saying a lot. That according to Moody's Analytics, by the way. Noem delivered her economic address today. Take a listen.
South Dakota does have the strongest economy in America. This is our state's 133rd consecutive year with a balanced budget. We still have no personal income tax. We have no business tax. And again, this year, there will be no tax increases, as I've pledged to all of you.
There you go. People do love low taxes. Some of us are still working out there. Governor Kristi Noem joins us now to talk more about this. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you again, too. So thank you for having me on your show.
Of course, yeah. Best governor in the country, best economy in the country. I guess, you must feel great about this. What's your advice to governors out there that want to see the same kind of progress that you have and your state has?
Well, not only do we have a low tax environment and low regulatory environment, but we also kept our state open. We didn't close any businesses. We gave people flexibility to keep food on the table and a roof over their heads. And then we invited people to come to South Dakota. Bring your business here. Bring your family here. We embrace freedom. And overwhelmingly, across the United States of America, people did. In fact, what I announced today to my legislature and to the rest of the state is that we saw 3 times the amount of revenue growth that we typically do in a calendar year. And we average about 5% revenue growth in South Dakota. In 2021, we saw 15.75% revenue growth. And already in our projections for 2022, we're at another 7% above and beyond that. So our GDP is the best in the country. We're growing. We're embracing freedom, and we're proving that conservative principles really do work and open up opportunities for families.
It really is something else. And when you look, I mean, there's a couple different ways to run a state, as you know. And in this country, it seems like liberal governors are just taking it completely the other way. And when you see numbers like we just showed that show that you've got these Republicans running these blue states that are very, very popular and more popular than Democrats running blue states in most cases, I think that the writing is on the wall for which side is more pragmatic, which side Americans, I think, trust more, how Americans really want their state to be run. I don't think it's in question even, which makes you wonder why these leftists continue to go down the paths that they go down.
Well, and that's what's interesting, is that here in South Dakota, what we've done the last several years since I've been governor is that we have just said what we've always said as conservatives and Republicans that we believed in, our principles, our values. Yeah. In South Dakota, the last several years, we did it. We did it, and now we've proved that it worked. And I remind people that's why the left attacks us so much. That's why they're constantly coming after us, is because we proved that what we believe as conservatives really does work, and that's why they want to make us fail. But the people of South Dakota are embracing the opportunity to set their next generation up for success as well. What we're doing with our extra revenue is putting unprecedented amounts into savings, into reserve funds for the future, recognizing the high inflation the Biden administration is bringing onto this country so that we can be better prepared for whatever that means in the future. But then also we're investing in long-term infrastructure projects. We're wastewater projects, dams, bridges, railroads. We're fixing things that will benefit us for the next 50 to 80 years.
It seems like it's working. The proof is right there in the numbers. I want to bring up one final thing here before we let you go. You filed an appeal in your state's abortion law case. It's involving Planned Parenthood. You're appealing a district court ruling that prohibits South Dakota from enforcing a law that would require women to consult with a crisis pregnancy center before undergoing an abortion. Tell us about the fight here.
Well, this is a court case that's called Planned Parenthood versus Noem, and it is being appealed right now by us in the 8th Circuit. And we really believe it is the perfect bill to follow the Dobbs case in front of the Supreme Court. If the Dobbs case doesn't fully take out Roe versus Wade, then we certainly believe that the South Dakota case will. It's on informed consent. We have a strong legal argument. We are all in on this battle to protect each and every life, and we think that we are at an unprecedented time in our history where we really do have an opportunity to overturn this law in our country that has been such a desecration to each of these children and innocent lives every day.
What should abortion laws look like in this country? Obviously, there's a fight to take down Roe versus Wade, which makes, I think, the other side, it makes them very militant to support and to protect it. They think that you want to completely take away the ability for anybody to get an abortion in this country. I don't think that's necessarily what Republicans are in unison trying to do here.
Well, what I'm 100% in favor of is protecting innocent lives, and that's what I've always stood for. What we don't talk about enough is taking care of mothers. So many times we focus on fighting for that life and the difference of opinion that we have, that we don't recognize that a lot of times these young individuals who are expecting a baby need support. They need somebody to come alongside them. They need to understand what it's like to be a mother and to know someone will walk that path with them. So here in the state of South Dakota, we are engaging with different organizations in the state to do exactly that, and to know that this isn't just about fighting for that baby's life and protecting an innocent life and making sure that it's not a victim, but also making sure that those mothers and those families that are in these situations that are incredibly challenging and chaotic for them, that they're supported and helped through that process as well.
Understood. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, thank you so much for taking the time. Good to see you again.
Thank you. You bet. Have a wonderful day.